Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Nahmadu wa nasalli ala Rasuli Kareem. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brothers and sisters, welcome to this series. A series on the signs of Qiyamah related to our own individual selves, applying to all Muslims in the Akhir Zaman, in the end of times. Things that we all need to be concerned about, as opposed to the big signs which we do believe in, Dajjal, Yajooj and Majooj, and so forth, and Mahdi alayhi salam coming and so forth. But those signs are more straightforward, while those that apply to each individual or society or community, how people will change, how their beliefs and actions will become corrupted, they're pertinent and important to ourselves because they're happening all around us right now. And as we read, we realize that actually we have reached a time that our Prophet ﷺ has warned us about. Hence, we should be more concerned, and the immediateness of our own islah, our own rectification, fixing our deen, should be priority before the most important priority, because we can easily be swept with the floods of fitn and the trials that are coming in the end of times. Therefore, one has to be seriously concerned about when these things are happening, that we should have our guard up and be protecting and making sure that we secure our akhirat. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq to practice. The first hadith for tonight, hadith number 25. عن حسان بن أبي سنان قال قال أبو هريرة رضي الله عنه قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يمسخ قوم من أمتي في آخر الزمان قرد وخنازير قيل يا رسول الله يشهدون أن لا إله إلا الله وأنك رسول الله ويصومون قال نعم قيل فما بالهم يا رسول الله قال يتخذون المعازف والقينات والدفوف ويشربون الأشربة فباتوا على شربهم ولهوهم فأصبحوا قد مسخوا قرد وخنازير. The ma'adullah, Allah protect us. So in this hadith, the Prophet ﷺ mentioned that there will people who come in the end of times, they will become disfigured as a punishment. They will be changed to the qirat wa khanazir, monkeys and pigs. From my ummah, the Prophet ﷺ said, from my ummah people will come who will be disfigured as an azab, as a punishment, into monkeys and pigs. Say, Ya Rasulullah, someone said to Ya Rasulullah, a messenger of Allah, will they testify there's none worthy worship except Allah and that you're the messenger of Allah? They'll fast, right? And the Prophet ﷺ, yes. They said, how can this happen to them, Ya Rasulullah? How can this happen? When they fast and they bear testimony to Shahada, how can they be? And this is interesting, that the question that was asked by Sahaba radiallahu anhum is that they are Muslims who fast, nothing else. And we know this, that there's many Muslims today, they will not pray, but they'll fast Ramadan. Nearly every Muslim fasts Ramadan. I'm a Muslim, fast Ramadan, but they will not pray Salat. So that's not mentioned in this hadith. Salat is not mentioned. Anyway, so Rasulullah confirmed, they said, so to Ya Rasulullah, why will this happen to them? He said they will take, first thing Rasulullah said, musical instruments. So look at the combination, the Prophet they will adopt musical instruments, number one. Two, singing and dancing women, right? Women that qainat is like singing and dancing women, right? The word that is used in many languages, Muslim languages, this is not something that's now people think that dancing is a skill. But dancing is considered something to be ashamed of, and it was something that was considered dirty in the past, and the type of people that did it were considered quite low in the society. So first thing is instruments, then these women that will be they will adopt and have them performing for them. Drums, like tabla, different types of drums are there. And they will drink. And if you notice, with a lot of, unfortunately, with a lot of, especially those of my generation growing up, you had to have in your stereo system a very, that's why you have a subwoofer and so forth. Why? Because of the beat of the drum. All right, you're not doing it for Quran tilawat. They put a subwoofer and all these things. As growing up in Australia, we know that you have to, because it's a beat of the drum. So Rasulullah ﷺ told us, so they'll have instruments, and then Rasulullah singled out the drum. The beating of the drums was separated from it, and dancing and singing women, and they will drink drinks, meaning that they will consume alcohol, different types of intoxicants they'll adopt. So, and if you look in our time, one of the pastime if not one of the main pastime of the youth, and we do have an extreme problem, not just here in Muslim countries as well, in the millions. And even here, people that look like they're normal people. I'm not talking about people in poor areas only. People who live in the suburbs. It's part of the culture of this society that to consume some sort of drug or alcohol. That's the kind of environment that we're growing up in. It's generally, Western society that we grow up in, we have to know the reality of where we live, the time that we live in. We can put our head in the sand and pretend that this doesn't exist. It exists. I was speaking to a brother the other day. He's involved in a lot of community level work, and he deals with a lot of people who are addicts or ex-addicts and so forth. He said this is the culture of this country, and many of us fail to recognize it. Many parents from overseas fail to recognize. They came from maybe Sharif, noble houses and families. They come here, their kids are on whatever, and many times the parents don't even know. They are totally oblivious to the fact that this is the life. The general thing of a young person in Australia is exactly what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam warned us about. Music, instruments, drums, women, singing, dancing, and drinking, consuming drugs. There's not really much to it. It's not that complicated. But this is the general thing that youth they are involved in, right? And then Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said they will then spend the night in their فَبَاتُوا عَلَى شُرْبِهِمْ. They will spend the night in their intoxication, وَلَهْوِهِمْ, and their lahu, meaning their playing and their enjoyments and satisfying their desires. فَأَصْبَحُوا قَدْ مُصِّحُوا قِرَدًا خَنَازِيرَ. They will wake up in the morning. And their faces, or they're disfigured into monkeys and pigs. There is one alim explained this metaphorically, but we will accept this is a punishment, azab. Allah protect the Muslims from this. But this is people who do this, they'll wake up with this type of. One explanation is that literally this is a literal thing happen. There is one alim who did say that what is a characteristic of pigs and monkeys? Monkeys imitate. So people who behave like this, they just become, they're saying, there's an expression in English, monkey see, monkey do. And anybody who's seen a monkey and played with a monkey, that's what they imitate you. If you jump forward, they jump forward at you. If you show your teeth, they show their teeth. It's like look in the mirror sort of a thing. It imitates you. So they have this characteristic that comes into them where they just imitate, right? They blindly follow. And khinzir, of course, khinzir is, even the word, it's an insult. In Arabic, in many languages, this is in our language, Pashto, in Urdu language, they use the word khinzir. Khinzir is like one of the worst. It's like there with dog. It's one of the worst insults that you can call another human being. So what is a khinzir? The khinzir is generally known by its following its desires, and it mates with its own kids. It's a disgusting animal that makes no tamiz between clean, doesn't differentiate between dirty and clean and so forth. So people who spend their time like this is how they will wake up with these type of characteristics. This could be one way to see, but the apparent meaning still stands, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has the qudra and the power to turn, like He changed the tribe of Bani Israel, but the sins that they did literally into monkeys and pigs. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us. Hadith number 26 عن حذيفة رضي الله عنه رفعه إذا استحلت هذه الأمة الخمر بالنبيذ والربا بالبيع والسحت بالهدية والتجر بالزكاة فعند ذلك هلاكهم ليزدادوا إثما. So the Prophet ﷺ said that, the Huzaifa radiallahu anhu, that the Prophet ﷺ said, when this ummah will change the names of things or consider things haram, halal. For example, Rasulullah ﷺ said they will take alcohol and they'll give it the name like nabidh. They'll call it another name, right? So they'll take something that is intoxication. They'll give it, try to change its name. They will change interest into business. Or this is something beneficial. This is as an example, use the word investment, or this is a business. But in reality, it's interest. And they will consider bribery, rishwa, bribery as a gift, right? And like in Pakistan, and this is not picking on Pakistani, but I remember again Pakistani. We don't understand these code words. So I was there. They said, "Oh, thoda sa bachcho ko khayal kar," like take care of the kids a little bit, So we don't understand what do you mean take care of your kids? What's your kids got to do with me that I have to take care? He was asking for a bribe, officials or these in the airports. I'm talking about 20, 25 years ago. So people they'll process you and make your life easier if you pay a bribe. You get to the head of the queue. So these type of thing, they call it something else, right? Some other name will be given to it, or some other way it's going to be labeled. We were once traveling, it was in India, so we were traveling Amritsar, I think, if I'm correct. And yeah, we got off the train. So all the locals, they get off the train. Nobody asked them anything. When we Australians, we were getting off, the guy stands there, entrance fee. So entrance fee is like, we said, what about all those people just left? They didn't have an entrance fee. So different names are given, but it's bribery, and bribery is forbidden. Or to get some official work done, some money is put inside the documents to help out people, to bribe the person so you get your job done easily. So one of the like one brother was telling me about in his country that how they do ask for the bribe is if they're pulled over by the police, he said the way you are driving, you should get a fine of this much, right? The amount of bribe that he wants. So he'll say an amount. So then the guy said, "Oh, okay, next time I'll be careful not to." But basically with the documents, when they hand in the documents to check the paperwork, in that they give the bribe. These are all different names. These are different names that people have come up with. At the end of the day, what they are is bribes, and these are forbidden. So, but Rasulullah ﷺ said in the hadith, bribes will be given with the name of gifts. Bribes will be given. We call it tuhf. And this is something that you see, unfortunately, especially when it comes to Muslim organizations and so forth. Something that we very lax on, and brothers have pointed out who are professionals, governance, conflicts of interest, even comes to Islamic centers and so forth. This is something that we need to actually work a lot on to improve conflicts of interest and governance to make sure that these things can be avoided. Zakat to be considered business. And when all of these will happen, the Prophet ﷺ said it will be the time for their destruction. And they will exceed in sins. Because once you start doing these things, it means that you've ticked all the boxes and you really it's a point of no return. And the Prophet ﷺ said that now the people will just keep going more. They'll start progressing. They'll actually progress, make taraqqi and progress in sins now. It's a slippery slope after that, and people will they've gone past the point of no return. Allah save us. عن عبد الرحمن بن غنم الأشعري قال حدثني أبو عامر أبو مالك الأشعري والله ما كذبني سمع النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول ليكونن من أمتي أقوام يستحلون الحر والحرير والخمر والمعازف ولينزلن أقواما إلى جنب العالم تروح عليهم بسارحة لهم تأتيهم يعني الفقير لحاجة فيقولون ارجع إلينا غدا فيبيتهم الله ويدع العلم ويمسح الآخرين قردا وخنازير إلى يوم القيامة. The Prophet Abd Rahman ibn Ghanam al-Ash'ari radiallahu anhu said that and it's not wrong to say that the Prophet ﷺ said, meaning that he confirmed the hadith, such people will come in my ummah that zina, silk, intoxicants, alcohol, wine, musical instrument, they will make it halal with wording. They'll use they'll play with words, and you see this. There's ulama, whether you can call them ulama. The Prophet ﷺ had a word. Sharia has a word for ulama, usu, wicked ulama, and they will have halal making machines. As Maulana Yunus Jaunpuri, Rahmatullah, from Maulana Yunus Patel, Rahmatullah, from South Africa, he said, I don't have a halal making machine. You put haram one side, I turn it, and the other side along those lines. He goes that I have a wonderful machine to make haram into halal. But there are some people who have such a machine. Astaghfirullah. And they will. So Rasulullah ﷺ warned about such people, that my ummah, such people will come, that they will make musical instruments. They will use words, and with those words they'll make these halal. They'll just change terminology. right? And some people that were living near will stay near mountains. And some people will come to them and they will live, they may have their livelihood, and some needy people will come to them. And they will, as a way of taunting them and looking down upon them, will say to them, come tomorrow. Come tomorrow, like, sort of get lost. And when they will become like that, these people become like that, the one who's adopted to live in the mountains and so forth, then azab, Allah will send azab, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will collapse mountains on these, collapse the mountains on these people. Generally, people that live in mountainous areas, they're generally cut off from what we call the centers of civilization, meaning the cities, big cities. Generally, people are more selfish, individualistic, and care less about their neighbors and so forth than can people live in villages and far off and sort of remote areas, where generally people are more humble and they have a harder life and they take care of each other. This is noted. But when they become like that, and when people come and they mistreat people who have come to them, and they will treat them with haqarat, then they will deserve the azab of Allah. Because imagine the rest of the world, when they becomes like that, treat their guests in such a way. And the next one is that the Prophet ﷺ mentioned also along with this, that when Qiyamah, before Qiyamah is coming, and another group of people that will make, so these people will be destroyed, and the people that will, with words that will change the meaning of the words, like what's forbidden, they will change it to give it halal names, and when they give it halal names, or try to make it halal through the names, changing of the names, they'll be changed into pigs, monkeys and pigs, as mentioned before. And you see people say, like the Christians did this in the Middle Ages. They said usury, riba, is not interest, right? And there are ulama today, unfortunately, supposedly ulama, who say no, interest is not usury, it's not riba. Like there's people actually, they say no, this is not exactly what the Christians did. They follow them, like as exactly what Rasul warned us about. That they will say, no, this is not these two separate things. And so the warnings are there very clear. So be careful of such people. They'll have, they can have Maulana in front of their name, they can have Sheikh in front of their name, Mufti in front of their name, Doctor in front of their name. It doesn't matter. They exactly what Rasulullah warned about. These people will appear in the Ummah. These people will say things like that. The next hadith, the result of immorality. عن ابن عمر رضي الله عنه أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال إن الله عز وجل إذا أراد أن يهلك عبدا نزع منه الحياء فإذا نزع منه الحياء لم تلقه إلا مقيتا مؤقتا فإذا لم تلقه إلا مقيتا مؤقتا نزعت منه الأمانة فإذا نزعت منه الأمانة لم تلقه إلا خائنا مخونا وإذا تلقه إلا خائنا مخونا نزعت منه الرحمة فإذا نزعت منه الرحمة لم تلقه إلا رجيما ملعنا فإذا لم تلقه إلا رجيم ملعنا نزعت منه ربقة الإسلام. Ibn Umar radiallahu anhu narrates that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not make the decision of a destruction of a person, right? Or the slaves of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When He makes a decision of destruction, first He removes haya from them, makes them immoral, lose modesty and shame. When that is taken from them, then and because of this, they start doing so many wrong things that they wouldn't do. When the haya goes, the modesty goes out of a person, then they become extremely despised. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because they don't haya, they become extremely despised. And when this condition increases in them, then amanat, trustworthiness, is taken from them. When trustworthiness comes out of them, then the person becomes kha'in, he starts cheating the people and deceiving the people, like in business matters and so forth. And when his condition becomes like that, then rahmat is taken out of his heart. And when the rahmat is taken out of his heart, then he becomes mardud, mal'un, rejected and cursed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when he reaches this point, then the belt of Islam, or the Islam will be removed from his neck. The Islam will be lifted from his neck. That he has, like we've got like a cloth or cloak of Islam on us, that we're Muslims, and this is something that may Allah keep it on us and we die with it, that we live and we die with Islam. That, but this person, when he reaches this condition, they will consider Islam a liability. They will consider Islam and the practice of Islam a liability. They will, and as a punishment, they will themselves want to remove Islam. You will see Mustafa become Christopher, and you'll see Muhammad become Mo, and you see people start changing their names because they want to, like, Islam is a liability. The name of Rasulullah ﷺ will become a liability for some people. And I mean, the most Allah honored his name, sallallaho alayhi, but for some people it will be a liability. For some people, being recognized and acknowledged as a Muslim liability. So they will, when their condition becomes such, they will themselves throw away Islam. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala punishment will lift Islam away from may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us and protect our progeny from such things. So these are the hadiths, severe hadiths. These are not something you can joke about, but these are extreme warnings from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If we see in us any of these things, then we should make tawbah and we should try to go to where Rasul. The starting point is where the person is haya. We have to look, how much haya did I have? How much haya do I have now? How much haya did my parents have, my grandparents have? Things that would make them red in the face. They would blush with modesty. Have I lost that? And then it's become the new normal. This is the new normal. This is not a thing to worry about. No, haya, modesty, right, is something that is prized in Islam. It is the khuluq, the character of Islam. So we should look, how much haya do I have? How much modesty do I have in my speech, in my action? How is my eyes and ears? Is like haya. So if we don't have haya, if I don't feel like I have haya, then I should, if I don't have haya, then at least I should pretend to have it for the sake of Allah and ask Allah to make sure people have haya. That I feel sensitivity towards and be offended by what is offensive to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The ultimate haya, modesty, is what? Is that I know that Allah is watching me, and because of that I leave sin. One is a haya that I have in front of people, and that's also a good thing. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said haya. One sahabi came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, complained about his brother, that he's very shy, very much too shy. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, al-haya la ya'ti illa bi khair. Haya only brings goodness. Haya can only bring good. Because even if you become incapacitated in front of people, even if you become awkward in front of people, but what it'll do is it'll become a barrier between you and sin. And those that don't have haya, and they can keep going, they'll keep going, end up in sin. So at least it brings goodness in a person. It helps keep the person in check. It's an internal thing Allah gives to some people. So haya is what? When I think of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's bounties and so forth upon me, and my inabilities and my deficiencies from my side, when those two feelings come, a feeling of shame comes in the heart. When I reflect and have reality of His bounties and perfection from His side, and I think of my sins and my deficiencies from my side, when those two emotions meet in the heart, then a sense of shyness comes. How can I disobey my Allah who's done so much kindness and good to me? How can I do something wrong against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So that's the reality of haya. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us give us the quality of haya. It's the quality of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And when Sayyidina Aisha radiallahu mentioned all the characteristics, the best, what is makarim al-akhlaq, what is the best akhlaq. And she said the whole of these 10, she listed 10 things and said this all pivots and is on the characteristic of haya, modesty, which is something in very short supply. Somebody mentioned and haya was something that was historically something that was more specific to women. And to men, the Prophet ﷺ is described that he had more haya than a virgin on the first night of marriage. Why is he being described? Because generally it is considered a characteristic, a quality that is more associated with women. It's a natural thing. She has a haya, modesty. Well, we've killed that, haven't we? So it's something that is in extremely short supply. And when somebody does have it, we think that actually there's something wrong with them. Like even if you try to do it, people think it's a weird thing. That's like I was in Hajj with one group, and the complaint came to the Hajj operator because I was, Allah give us tawfiq, but I was lowering my gaze. There was ladies there because we're traveling. So just as the Quran orders to lower our gaze, they send a message to the Hajj operator that what's wrong with the Sheikh about myself? What's wrong? I'm not saying I have haya, Allah give us all haya, but they say what's wrong with him? He doesn't look at us. So we don't even know what haya is, that haya is supposed to be in the eyes and ears and so forth. So now if you lower your gaze and you don't look, there's something wrong with the person. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us understanding and tawfiq to practice what we're saying here. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.